Guys, how's it going? Carl here, North Coast Constrictors. Welcome back to the channel. So I'm just going to do a quick recap on the egg box setup for incubating ball python eggs, but I got a bit of advice from one of my followers, and he said within the first 30 seconds of doing a YouTube channel, show a snake, because otherwise people won't watch the whole video. So I decided to start off the video with this beautiful high white pied female. Her name is Snowflake. Okay, she is a female that is going to be in next year's breeding project. She's probably around about the 900 gram mark now. And I thought, well, let me just pull her out and start off the video by showing what a beautiful snake this is. Now, when it comes to pards, I love a 50-50 pattern or a 60-40 pattern. I like to see the saddles. I like to see white and an even distribution of white and color. Okay, so high white isn't my favorite. However, this girl is a beaut, and she will be paired to a Enchi yellow belly pied male next year. Okay, so I thought let's start off the video with a snake. Now that we've got that out the way, and I'll end off with another one. One of the last videos that I did, it was on egg box setup, and I've had one of my mentors, friend of mine, said I'm making it a little bit too complicated for breeders. I'm a little bit too technical, and it doesn't actually have to be so rigid where I take my scale and I measure the vermiculite and I do exactly 300 grams and exactly 600 grams of water if I'm doing a 2-to-1 ratio, because that really confuses guys. Really, it doesn't have to be done that way. It can be simplified. So what I'm going to do is I'm doing another egg box video, and I'm also going to talk about the previous video, and I'm going to do this as fast as I can, whereby I separated the clutch. Now, if you look at one of my last videos, I had a female in here that laid 12 big eggs, not even medium size or small eggs, 12 big eggs. And the normal egg box setup that I use for my eggs is a 6-liter shoe box, roughly the same size as a shoe box. Okay, it can fit 6 eggs in it. So I had to separate the eggs and use 2 of these tubs. Okay, I didn't have a box big enough to put that whole clutch in, so I had to separate. However, also you don't have to separate your eggs. I candled the eggs, I separated them, I candled them, and I made sure that the eggs were facing up with the embryo facing up. Guys, you don't have to do that. Nature's way is they do this in the wild. The reason why the eggs stick together is to stop them from rolling around. When a female lays her eggs and she coils around them, they get into that position for a reason. How she lays them is how they stay. And I've had a lot of breeders reach out to me and say, no, don't separate the eggs, put them all in together exactly how they've been laid, and just make sure they don't touch the sides of the egg box. Unfortunately, that first clutch that I had to separate the eggs because I didn't have an egg box big enough. Now, here's a slightly bigger egg box. It still wouldn't have been big enough for that 12 egg clutch, but this is big enough for a good 8 egg clutch, I suppose. And I'm just going to show you a quick, easy way how to do it without doing measuring, without having to have a scale or a jug or anything like that. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to, obviously the box is sterilized, guys. You have to be hygienic. Okay, so I'm just going to throw in vermiculite. Just going to have a look and see how high it is. I'll make it a little bit higher. Guys, you can use perlite, you can use vermiculite, it doesn't matter. Both of them can be used with great success, okay? So I haven't even weighed that. I haven't measured it or anything like that. And then next, just take my water and not even measuring, okay? All I'm doing is I'm just making it so that I can clump it together where it's not I like to, because I've got holes in my tubs so they can breathe, and I want maximum humidity, and I'm not going to keep the humidity they're not airtight, okay? So you can actually use a bit more water. In fact, if you're using a light diffuser like I'm using, there's a lot of, in fact, this ratio of water here is probably about 3:1 now. So let's say, just hypothetically speaking, I put in 500 grams of vermiculite, okay? You could say I easily put in 1,500 grams of water, and that's okay. Nothing wrong with it, okay? Nothing wrong at all with it. Just wipe the sides down, make sure it's not, you don't get anything on the sides. Perfect. A lot of water in there. You can see it's moving around a lot, and that's okay. That's okay. Then I take my light diffuser, all right, make sure it's the right way up, which it is, and plonk the light diffuser on top like that. And the next time I have a clutch of eggs, I just pop them straight on there, close the box, put it in the incubator without even separating the eggs. You don't even need to do it. There's enough water in there. I've got a hole on all of the 4 sides here so the box can breathe. It's not airtight, but I've got enough water inside there to make sure that I don't run out of water, and I still remain, I keep the humidity at 100% because there's enough water in there. The main thing is not to get water on the eggs. So there are even guys that will incubate their eggs without even using perlite or vermiculite and just put a light diffuser over water. I've seen it done. Okay, so guys, it's not rocket science, and I'm sorry if the last video maybe threw a couple of you guys off and you were like, oh, get a scale and 200 grams of vermiculite and 400 grams of water, which is how I've got this one set up here. Guys, you don't have to do it like that. That's perfectly okay. I didn't measure anything. I didn't weigh anything. I just threw it in like that, and I know that if I put my eggs on top of this light diffuser, as long as it doesn't come into contact, it's very wet, this vermiculite, as long as it doesn't come into contact with the water, these eggs will be perfect inside here. And not only that, I'm not going to separate. Got 3 or 4 other females that are going to give me clutches that size. It's not so much the clutch spread out, it's the height of the clutch. Okay, so you'll find that you'll fit them all in here, but they'll be sitting up about that high. So the next thing that I'm going to be doing is going down to my local plastic shop where I get all my plastic containers from, and I'm going to be looking for something a little bit higher, because I do have probably about 5 other females that are going to give me 12 clutch eggs this season in these racks here, and I'm not going to be separating the eggs. I'll be candling them, looking for veins for sure, but I'm not going to be making sure that the embryo faces up. How the mother lays the eggs and how they're positioned is how I'm going to put them into the egg box. If I cannot find an egg box, or my egg box is not big enough still, okay, there is nothing wrong with taking a few eggs that are in the way or that just stop you from closing the lid, or to stop it from the eggs from touching inside, and to separate those eggs, and then to put them in another egg box that's set up, or move them around and place them inside where they're touching, but as long as they do not touch the sides of the tub, and they do not touch the side of the egg box, and they do not touch the top of the egg box, and they remain on top of the light diffuser, and that'll be perfect to put into your incubator and incubate like that for 60 days, anywhere between 55 and 65 days, depending on how warm you keep your incubator. So guys, that was the complicated, scientific, methodical, exactly 2:1 ratio, how I did it on my previous video. This way is just throw it in, put the water in, make sure the light diffuser on top, put the eggs on top. Don't separate the eggs. Don't even need to candle them. Let nature take its course. You know, that's been doing it for millions and millions of years. And then we as humans come along and think that we can improve on the situation. And sometimes you can, okay? However, by messing around with the eggs, you've actually got more of a chance of making something go potentially wrong with that clutch, okay? Mommy laid them in a certain way. They are stuck together in a certain way. That shell is made out of that, whatever it's made out of, in a certain way so that it binds those eggs together and then sticks together like a glue so that they don't roll apart from each other. So it doesn't matter if the embryo is on the side or underneath, you're going to have, there's enough scientific data out there that proves and that busts the myth of having to have the embryo facing up. I did it that way because I separated the eggs. You can do it if you do it within 24 hours. Okay, the moment a clutch is over 20, if it's been laid and you wait longer than 24 hours and now you start separating the eggs and pulling them apart and putting them inside the egg box, that is a mistake. If you don't get it in time, then don't do it. I'm not saying don't separate your eggs. I'm not saying separate your eggs. I'm Switzerland here today, guys. I'm Switzerland. I am taking a neutral path. I am saying you do you. If you've been separating your eggs and doing it differently to this and it works for you, carry on doing it, okay? If you're a new breeder and you're looking for new information and you're trying to learn how to set up an egg box, there are different ways to do it. And if you watch my previous video, that's one way to do it and it'll work. And if you watch this video now, you can do it this way and it'll work. Be hygienic. You don't just take the box out of the shop and throw the vermiculite in and throw the diffuser in or anything like that. You wash this tub out thoroughly with scalding hot water and soap, rinse it out thoroughly, spray it down with F10, dry it out, make sure it's completely bacteria free. Then you put your vermiculite in, your water, your light diffuser, boom, and pop it off into the incubator and let it sit there and wait for your next clutch of eggs to hatch. And when your beautiful female lays her wonderful clutch of eggs, healthy eggs, just simply take your egg box out of the incubator, separate the female from the eggs, take the whole clump of eggs, put it inside, make a little mark on top of each egg how it was laid, take the lid, plonk it down, latch it closed, put it in the incubator, leave it. You'll be great. Okay, now guys, I hope that simplified it for you. There are numerous videos to watch about egg setup, egg box setup. If I can recommend two guys to watch on this particular subject, Royal Balls, Rob Barraclough and Joe Tully, Tully's Out Regis Royals. Those guys have both got YouTube channels. They are my mentors overseas. There's also another mentor or two that I have here in South Africa. However, they don't do YouTube channels. So you won't be able to find any kind of backup to what I'm saying here. So I know Rob has done quite a lot of videos on egg box setup and incubation, and he is an absolute world of knowledge, as is Joe from Tully's Out Regis Royals. So that's a way to do it, guys. Go give those guys a follow, go watch their YouTube videos, put your mind at ease, don't overcomplicate things, keep it simple, stupid, you'll be fine. All right, it's over and out from Cole, North Coast Constrictors. Cheers.